Did you guys hear that just came in? Honey, I got a video. Y'all have to watch this video. It tells the tales. You guys know Jay-Z, lawyer, attorney. He's been working hard for Jay-Z, but nothing is giving in. Okay, Jay-Z, attorney, is at his last straw. He is thinking about just dropping it all, okay? But his reputation is on the line. Jay-Z is paying him big money. But that attorney dude, no, he can't win this because he's fighting against God, okay? And all the videos that are coming up, all the victims that are coming up, it is really affecting him. It's really affecting him. Y'all gotta see this video. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. Jay-Z's attorney is breaking down, honey. It's no win in sight, and he knows it. And he knows if he keep going forward, and he knows he ain't gonna win, that is gonna curse him and his family. Okay? And I'm sure he don't want that curse on him. It's not worth it. Humble yourself. Okay? Humble yourself and do right, because if you don't, you will pay for it. And he knows that. He is
Jay-Z's attorney has thrown in the towel because as evidence mounts against Sean Carter and his cartel, he has been asking his attorney to fight an uphill battle he just can't win.
And you have now tainted them with information that's just not relevant. So the question is, why would you risk all of that? Why would you, try to stifle speech? It's a multi-faceted complication that comes with fame. That's part of what you have to deal with.
The judge in the case of a woman who claims she was raped by Jay-Z and Diddy when she was 13 has criticized Jay-Z's lawyer for his inappropriate behavior. Judge Annalisa Torres issued a written order condemning Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's lawyer, for his aggressive motions and inflammatory language directed at the plaintiff's attorney, Tony Busby, and his client.
Alex Spiro is pushing to get a judge to dismiss the rape lawsuit against his client, citing an NBC News exclusive that found inconsistencies with the accuser's account.
We expect Mr. Carter to be fully cleared of all of this in the coming days. Almost nothing that she says has checked out because this never happened.
This in the wake of our interview with a 38-year-old mother from Alabama who accuses Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Sean Diddy Combs of raping her when she was 13 years old. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward? Because I think that I've been quiet long enough.
She says that she might have some facts wrong, but that she says the incident happened. What do you say to that?
Anybody, when they make up a claim, they can just keep repeating it and getting it right. But you never get the details right. And what happened during her interview with you is that the story began to unravel.
Spiro, who has been representing Jay-Z for about 3 weeks, previously requested that the Alabama woman, currently identified as Jane Doe, to protect her anonymity, reveal her identity. Judge Torres has ruled that she can remain anonymous for now, but may be required to reveal her name later in the proceedings. You know what the interesting thing is, though? Someone claimed that Jay-Z dated underage women in the 90s, almost a year ago, and it went under the radar. Reggie Wright.
We all forget about. Y'all see this picture of Jay-Z with Aaliyah when she was underage? Y'all forgot about Jay, huh? We only know about Damon Dash messing with Aaliyah and R. Kelly. But that ain't the only one that Jay had when she was underage. Y'all remember Fox Brown and Jay? Ain't no woman like the one I got. No one could love you better. Before that song came out, we used to hear it. I used to tell shit. I was like, woo, that shit. Him and Mystical, those were two songs that were hot. That it took like a year before it got, well, I'll say to the West Coast. I don't know if they were beating it up on the East Coast. But on the West Coast, it took like a year before those songs came out. And then Nelly's song with the Link St. Lunatics. But I'm just saying all that to say, Foxy was young then as well. And so, all of these guys and the underage young ladies was running rapid in the 90s. And so that's all I remember. That's all I think about, you know, with the DeBarge and Janet Jackson situation. That's all I think about.
Diddy, on the other hand, is currently being held in a Brooklyn jail while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges, to which he has pleaded not guilty. The latest news out of court makes it sound like he's in deep trouble indeed.
A disgraced hip-hop mogul, Sean Diddy Combs, back in court today. The rapper appearing in a beige smock and pants for his pretrial hearing. Federal prosecutors are saying that they were on track to disclose all of the available evidence to the defense by the end of the year. Well, Diddy has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn following his arrest in September in a federal sex trafficking case. Last week, Combs abandoned what was his fourth attempt to get released on bail. Joining me for more on this is ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky. So, Aaron, I know you just essentially left that courtroom. So what do we know about today's hearing?
Well, the prosecutors said they would disclose every piece of evidence that's in their possession by the end of the year. So by December 31st, the defense should have everything. And then the case is going to move toward trial in the spring of next year. Before that, the defense says it wants some clarity from the prosecutors about the scope of Combs's alleged criminal conduct, because right now, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo said the racketeering allegations that Combs faces, the defense believes are a little vague. Beyond that, Kana, the trial set for May 5th is on. And if there are going to be any additional charges, prosecutors today did not tip their hand, only telling the judge that any additional charges that are brought would not involve a lot of discovery, meaning there wouldn't be a lot of additional evidence that the defense would have to go through. So in the prosecutor's view, there would be no delay, even if Diddy ends up facing additional charges.
He is also facing multiple sexual assault lawsuits, many of which have been brought by Busby, who represents more than 150 people, both men and women, alleging sexual abuse and exploitation by Diddy. The lawsuits allege that many victims were abused at parties in New York, California, and Florida after being served drugged drinks. The details of some of them are truly horrifying.
3 new male accusers now say Sean Diddy Combs sexually assaulted them, according to civil lawsuits filed today in New York. The lawsuits, filed anonymously, allege a pattern of conduct similar to what other Combs accusers have alleged, saying that Combs would invite them for a meeting, they would have a drink, get woozy, and then wake up to Combs raping them. Combs' attorneys calling the new accusations lies, denying Combs ever sexually assaulted anyone. Our senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky joins us now for more. So tell us about these new civil lawsuits that have been filed. And is this the first time that the accusers have actually been men? I mean, we did hear from one accuser in the past couple of weeks, right, Aaron? So it seems like more men are coming forward.
These aren't the first men to accuse Sean Combs of sexual assault, but they are coming forward as a trio filed by a plaintiff's attorney named Thomas Giuffre, who says he had more than 60 people come to him to ask about suing Sean Combs, and he only filed these 3 that he says he was able to vet. He says they followed a pattern of people coming into Sean Combs's orbit in one way or another, being plied with a spiked alcoholic drink, and then waking up to having Combs sexually assault them. Now, Combs, as you mentioned, Kira, has denied sexually assaulting anyone, has called these new accusers liars. One of the men worked for Combs, and he says that he went to a meeting arranged at a hotel where Combs was saying to talk about some kind of monetary payment for jobs that he never got paid for. That's when he says he was attacked.
Diddy's legal team has dismissed these cases as shameless publicity stunts aimed at extorting money from celebrities who fear having false accusations spread about them, as Diddy's lawyers claim has happened to him. Jay-Z, meanwhile, has also responded to the lawsuit, accusing Busby of trying to blackmail him into settling the allegations. Busby, for his part, has stated that his firm does not comment on court rulings. In her lawsuit, the woman alleges that Jay-Z and Diddy raped her after the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000, when she was just 13 years old.
If you take her allegations as true, that Jay-Z and Sean Combs maybe went to a few places in that after party, so we don't know when this other after party where she claims she was assaulted took place. But again, this is problematic for her, right? The fact that her father can't back it up, the fact that the Benji Madden incident, there was also an incident that she recalled a Jumbotron, but there's been evidence to suggest there wasn't a Jumbotron. So there's holes in this story. Now, NBC News, they did report that they tried to locate this friend who allegedly drove Jane Doe to the VMAs that night, but it appears that person has died. And they indicated that they tried to reach out to this person's relatives, but they didn't really have any luck. Now, Jay-Z reportedly told NBC, this incident didn't happen. And he says, look, but Tony Busby filed it in court anyway. He doubled down in the press, adding, true justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. Again, referencing Tony Busby. So Busby released a statement defending himself, saying, look, Jane Doe's case, it was referred to me by another firm. Her story had allegedly already been vetted. His statement read, our client remains fiercely adamant that what she has stated is true to the best of her memory. We will continue to vet her claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. Because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. I've never had a client suggest that before. And for her part, this unnamed Jane Doe said to NBC, you should always fight for what happened to you. You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life. I just hope I can give others the strength to come forward like I came forward. And before we again go into his latest response, I just have to give you one more piece of background information, because after all this happened, attorney Alex Spiro filed this emergency motion with the court. And he asked that either the case be thrown out completely or Jay-Z be dismissed from the suit. And he also said he wants to ensure that evidence be preserved in this case because he alleged that Busby may actually destroy evidence.
Both men strongly deny these allegations. Spiro has also asked the judge to dismiss Jay-Z from the lawsuit, pointing to an interview the plaintiff gave to NBC News, in which he claims there were glaring inconsistencies and outright impossibilities in her story. While the plaintiff has admitted to making some mistakes, she stands by her overall allegations. Things have been getting worse for Diddy, and it's not just the growing accusations against him. His life in prison has been described as close to torture, raising serious concerns about his health and safety. On top of that, rumors are circulating that Jay-Z's investigation might be tied to all this chaos, sparking speculation about a potential major fallout between these two celebrities. We've heard the rumors for a long time.
Why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
free artistry.
Right. There's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met.
And then there's the fact that Jay-Z's whole network could get exposed if he goes down.
Diddy Devy. He's the devil. And if he ain't the devil, he is the damn short shepherd for him. He wants to be just like him. Let's get Diddy indicted and let's get Jay-Z up next.
Do you believe
Issue whatever trafficking the diddler is being looked at for. Sean Carter, aided and abetted, or was directly involved. It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still trapped inside the machine, working, paying their flesh debts. There's still a lot of them, and they know things that people ain't going to be comfortable with them knowing. What people really need to be worried about is getting all of the witnesses to come forward before they disappear.
You might remember that Diddy was once put on suicide watch. Knowing what his life behind bars is like, it's not hard to see why. He's being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, which many describe as one of the worst places to be imprisoned. Imagine walking past the building and hearing the cries of inmates banging on windows, pleading for help. It's that bad. During colder months, prisoners complain about having no heat, which only makes the conditions worse. Former inmates have described their experiences there as hellish. Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former lawyer, said as much after spending time there. Another inmate shared similar stories about the miserable conditions.
But one former warden who worked at the facility says Combs's life could still be in danger there. And that former warden is Cameron Lindsay, and she joins me now. Cameron, great to have you here. We just read it out loud. One lawyer for one inmate called the MDC overcrowded and understaffed, hell on earth. Combs's own lawyers called it horrific. Why are conditions so bad there?
Well, it's been a number of years since I've been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, but what I can tell you is New York City, being the biggest, most populated city in America, the MDC has a difficult time recruiting and retaining staff. So one of the key issues is the lack of staffing. And it would be unfair for me not to mention that the vast majority of MDC staff are hardworking, salt of the earth, well-trained people. I know many of them. They're fantastic people. Unfortunately, however, there has been a disproportionate element of corruption within the ranks of MDC. And I think that has to do with a number of factors, to include the inability to hold on to the really good staff.
Yeah.
Many of them leave.
Combs isn't the only famous inmate to be housed there. We had Sam Bankman-Fried there, R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell. They were all inmates there. Sean Combs is being kept away from the general inmate population. You say his fame makes him a target.
Yeah, sure. And not necessarily at the MDC only. I mean,
anywhere.
Yes. In my humble estimation, his life, his safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit. The MDC Brooklyn is a high-rise. The vast majority of the floors are general population floors. But the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility. So this is for Mr. Combs' protection.
People were shocked by how much weight Diddy has lost during his recent court appearance.
All right.
He looked visibly older and appeared frail, which is fueling rumors that he's terrified someone in the prison might try to poison him. Given the number of accusations, including celebrity names being exposed, it's easy to understand his paranoia. Recently, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and their daughter Blue Ivy were seen together at the red carpet premiere of Mufasa, The Lion King. The family appearance came just hours after Jay-Z expressed his distress about discussing the recent allegations against him with their children. There's some drama about Blue Ivy's real parents, too.
Beyonce couldn't get pregnant. Not naturally, not normally. What I do know is this. When Beyonce got on that stage with that fake baby bump,
Oh, yeah.
it was lined up with the same timing of where Kathy White would have been in her second trimester. And when we all watched her get on TV with that fake pregnancy belly that folded over,
Yep.
she sat down. The timeline of when she delivered Blue Ivy lines up almost perfect with the timeline of when Kathy White would have delivered.
Wow.
We all know that Blue Ivy came from a surrogate. They shut that hospital down like a president had just been. And parents who had just had children themselves weren't even allowed to see their own kids for 24 hours.
They bounced my family up the 6th floor and from the waiting room and made them go downstairs and get her.
There's a lot of us that are coming together to deal with this issue. This is not by any means just us.
Because of the security that was locking that whole thing down.
$1.3 million is alleged that Beyonce and Jay-Z, the Carters, paid this hospital to have the right to have their baby there in complete secrecy and privacy.
Okay, so the surrogate was carried out and no one heard her speak a word.
Do we know if the surrogate was alive?
They supposedly turned some of the cameras off so that there was no pictures that were being taken. Now you're getting into the...
Jay-Z's accuser, known only as Jane Doe, claims the alleged incident occurred after an awards event, with Diddy present at the time. Now 37 years old, the claimant is seeking a jury trial and is asking for compensatory damages for all physical injuries, emotional distress, psychological harm, anxiety, humiliation, physical and emotional pain and suffering, family and social disruption, and other harm. Do you think Diddy and Jay-Z can escape this? Let us know in the comments.
I want to know your thoughts about this. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And I'll see you guys on the next upload. All right? Bye.